Hey, we're checking. Hey, we're checking out the Fender Ventera II Mustang bass. Hey, thanks to Will Cut Guitars for providing this bass. We really appreciate them. They're local to us, and they have a great online shop, so you can get basses like this.
On this Fender Ventera II competition Mustang bass, we've got the full-on color of competition burgundy, which admittedly I'm confused by because I thought burgundy was red. But in this case, it is not. It is blue, and it's kind of like a finish that sort of changes color as you kind of move through the bass. This bass is equipped with a maple neck and a rosewood fretboard. It's got a split single-coil pickup. It's got a neck-through string-up situation, and many more features that we'll get into.
Got a 70s style C-shaped neck. I like the neck profile a lot. You know, the short scale thing, like the neck profile does feel easily transferable, like if you're used to a P bass, that kind of thing. It's maybe not as chunky as a old school P bass, but it's gonna feel like you'd expect it to. This bass in particular, too, if it was me, I found it a little more neck heavy than I expected. Once I put it on a strap, I really don't think that would be a big deal. But the way the size is, I think in this particular one, if it were my bass, I'd swap the tuners. I'd take some of the finish off the neck, and then I'd be really happy with it. With a lot of these Fenders, especially the ones coming off the line, this one was made in Mexico. There's kind of a break-in period, in my opinion, where you get it to feel like how you want, because a lot of them off the shelf don't feel like my favorite Fenders. Like for me, I take a lot of finish off the neck, so when the finish is off the neck, feels great. Nick doesn't do that, correct? You like the...
Sure, I'm in between. You know, certain Gibsons are like coated in that lacquer on the back, and then certain, like, I just bought a Music Man. Those are like, I mean, as smooth as can be on the back of that roasted maple. So it really is up to preference. But I'm gonna completely second that argument to say there is a break-in period, and I think when you're buying Mexican Fenders and these other sub $1,500 guitars, you gotta have someone that you go to help set up the bass in the way that you want it, and the way that you're used to, and the way that you would expect, and the way that works for the situation you're in.
It takes a little bit of getting used to the short scale thing, like not really so much down the neck, but once I got up the neck, I was overshooting frets a little bit. And I would also say, like, tension wise, there is like a certain stiffness that I didn't expect to feel.
There's the aura that people, certain other bass channels talk about, that short scale basses have, of this tubbiness, this stumpiness, the notes sound full and good all the way across. And there's just a different response that these basses get. And I do find that as much as you think that you know what's coming, it's not really what we had thought we were getting. We both really enjoy the bass. We both have a love for short scale basses in these Mustangs, but it's definitely not just a P bass small. You have to understand that this isn't going to be a clone of whatever bass you want small. It is genuinely a different, just resonating profile to the notes that you play.
Yeah, something I didn't expect was the pickup felt a little bit more full range. I felt like my P bass was kind of a little bit more like mid focused, whereas this one was a little bit more open. If I listen to it, I'd think, yeah, that's probably a P bass pickup. But sometimes you hear a P bass, you're like, that's a P bass. I feel like this was almost more versatile in some of its tone. Like it just, without having to mess with the tone, I kind of felt more high highs, more low lows. It wasn't like scooped or anything, but it was a little different.
And it was a lot more vintagey of a sound, and I feel like it would lend itself to those old school style amps that are a little more mid range focus.
Totally.
I'd be really interested to see the pairings that you could make with this bass on those gigs. I really enjoyed the feel of it a lot. They're super fun, and we always talk about on this channel, certain basses make you play differently. Well, this is no stranger to that. You have this, and you feel like a different player. Now, I will say, in a full-size comparison, it is not that much shorter than a full-size P bass. However, you do get a couple advantages with this bass. For instance, this bass would fit in a guitar gig bag, and guitar gig bags fit into overhead bins on planes a whole lot easier than bass cases do. So that's a huge perk for guys like us. Another thing is when you're in bars, tight quarters, that really can make a lot of the difference if you're playing on one of those tight stages, you know, at the hometown bowling alley, at the hometown Applebee's, you're playing your 10 to 2 shift, and
what's up, Denny's?
Yeah, what's up, Denny's? It's nice to have a bass that won't necessarily be chopped in half by the ride cymbal of the drummer. So these little things all to consider. We've both been a fan of short scales. There's a lot of different options out there. Epiphone has some really cool ones. The Epiphone Newport, I believe, is a pretty cool one in a similar ballpark.
Yep.
You want to go a little higher in, you've got the Sarek deal. There's Music Mans are making them in short scale. There's lots of options, but this is such a tried and true classic short scale.
You know, people started digging up these basses that were thought of as low end or student models and being like, wow, these are cool. So you get a lot of that charm that is different than a standard bass that you're used to, and that's pretty cool. And I like that the market is bringing a lot of these back up.
I do like this bass. It comes in a lot of good colors. If you're looking for interesting ones, the Competition Orange is also very cool with that kind of two-stripe deal across the side. Just a classic look.
I love the stripes.
I know.
That's the coolest part to me.
I agree. It just makes the bass, doesn't it?
I do really like this particular finish. I don't like the color of a lot of basses. I don't like the color of a lot of basses Nick picks. I don't like red. I don't like whatever. But for some reason, this one, I'm like, you know, I could play that.
Hey, thanks for checking out this video of the Mustang. If you liked it, if you would give us a like, a comment, something like that. If you really liked it, maybe consider subscribing. And if you really, really liked it, maybe consider buying us a coffee with a super thanks. But anyways, we'll be here whenever you're ready to come back and check out some more gear. From the guys here at Based, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.